We are driving through the Smoky Mountains. We've left Asheville a little while ago, North Carolina. We are still in the state of North Carolina, and we are headed to Tennessee. I believe our first Tennessee stop is Knoxville. We'll be headed to Murfreesboro, right under Nashville, to do a job there. And Woody is just expressing how much he likes this route, I-40 West. He says the truck is pulling the trailer just fine.
She thinks the show may have contributed to his stress. Kim, have you heard anything about that?
So that's the road to our future. The other direction is the road to our past. The road to Capriana.
We've seen a lot of incidents with reality.
It's a little bit cloudy. We did get spotted shower just here a while ago.
So it's really causing a whole.
It's just
causing everyone to really look
unbelievably beautiful. I'm trying to get a good view so we can remember this ride, and also so we can show it to our friends who can pretend like they left Littlefield this summer and came on a road trip. This is road trip. You sit in the seat, you look at the beautiful sights, you imagine what life is like here for the people that live here. I always wonder if people commuting back and forth to work on a daily basis, like on this road, go, oh, it's so beautiful. My guess is they're like, okay, this is just every day. And my friend Kayla Bryant would be like, there's too many trees, there's too many trees. See, the person in front of us is pulling a little trailer. 55, keep it 55. So, Woody, did you enjoy your whole extravagant trip?
I'll tell you what, it was mighty fine, mighty fine. And Miss Common.
What was the best part of it all?
At the coast.
Yep, that's where our baby's at. Man, I'll tell you what, that Joseph, he got us good. We went on a trip to Fort Macon, Pine Knoll Shores Aquarium, Beaufort, North Carolina, not Beaufort, South Carolina. We ate at Clausen's, but Bree had told us she was taking the day off to be with us that particular day, and Joseph would have to work. He'd been working every day since we got there, and that morning they came and had breakfast with us, and he kept rushing us out the door saying, y'all need to get going, y'all need to get going, and I was just heartbroken. I wanted to spend as much time with him as I could. So we all loaded into the truck. I looked in the back seat to make sure everybody's ready to go. Everything looked fine. Remembered I'd forgotten my glasses, went back inside, grabbed my bag, came back out, locked the doors, got back in, and I just was going on about, I'd rather be with Joseph than go to Fort Macon. I don't want to leave him. I thought he was out walking the beach by himself as we left for our day trip. And Woody starts to roll out. I looked in the back seat again, and still it looked normal, but something just, I don't know what caught my attention, that I looked back, and there he was. He was riding along. He said, I took the day off, Mom. Man, that was awesome, wasn't it?
Wow, look at this tunnel we're fixing to go through.
I said, that was awesome, wasn't it? When he did.
Awesome.
He's a trickster. He's like his mother. Here's the tunnel, hun. Ooh, slow it down, Woody. Slow it down. Slow it down. Wow, that was a little bit scary, because the person in front of us completely slowed down.
Doesn't know how to drive.
Well, he might be new to the whole RV experience. Anyway, so we did go, let's see, left Altoona and we headed out to Gettysburg. And there we got to tour the little town of Gettysburg, and we did a whole audio tour. Auto in the car with the audio sounds. It was so cool. And we also got to go to Dwight and Mamie Eisenhower's home that's there in Gettysburg, and we did a tour of that, and it was very fine and wealthy and just you could really picture a family living there. It wasn't like it was all how would you say, it wasn't like stiff living,
Party.
but it was very comfortable. You could tell it was, it had its rooms that were very wealthy to impress, and then it had rooms to just be a family. It was really nice, and the grounds were beautiful. When we finished at Gettysburg, we were going to go to Washington, D.C., but we decided to continue on First Sergeant Chatty Gibson's battlefield run, and he fought in Gettysburg, and he fought his way on down to a place in Farmville called Sailor's Creek Battlefield. So rather than stop in Washington, D.C. with the Army, we decided to go on down there. And that was just a lot of good country driving through Virginia. Farmville, Virginia is on the path to Sailor's Creek Battleground. Visitor Center there closes at 5, and we pulled in like a couple of minutes till 5. Just long enough to allow us to see the little exhibit they have there in the Visitor Center, which was brand new, and also got a lot of information from the ranger on duty. He took the time to sit and talk with us and tell us all about the history of this battlefield. This battlefield is where First Sergeant Chatty Gibson was captured and sent to Maryland to Point Lookout prisoner of war camp. Now, he was only there from April to June before he was released. Of course, this was already towards the end of the war. We're talking about 65. So this man has survived in 61 the Gettysburg War battles, and then the battles in between, and was at the end because this, where he was captured in Farmville, this is right outside of Appomattox where Lee finally surrendered. So he was there at all the crucial moments, managed to survive, go back home to Mississippi, marry, and have lots of children, and continue on the Gibson name. So that's what we did at Sailor's Creek. From there, we went on to Emerald Isle, got there a day early, so we didn't have anywhere to stay, had to spend the night in a parking lot, and at a grocery store at the parking lot. The next morning we checked in right on the beach at Emerald Isle. We hadn't slept, but we unpacked and headed on over to Joseph's and Bree's so we could see Joseph before he went to work, and we got to babysit. Bree went ahead and took the afternoon off and came on back and spent the afternoon with us out at the beach. And it was just wonderful to just sit and have girl talk with a daughter. It was beautiful. By the end of the day, around 8 o'clock, we were tired. We hadn't slept the night before. So Bree headed home with the baby, and we went to bed early. The next morning, again, we headed over to Joseph's when we got up and dressed. Spent time with him before he went to work, and then we got to watch the baby in the afternoon. Her routine was we'd get there and we'd feed her, and look, here's Tennessee. We're crossing the line. Woohoo! Anyway, so we'd feed her and whatnot, and then we packed her up and took her on down to the beach with us, and she just spent the whole day with Willow and Willa. And we had a good afternoon. We played, and she was cutting a tooth, so Woody made her a couple of snow cones, actually. And she went through them like nothing. I mean, she was not fussy or crying, but you could tell she was having a lot of discomfort from that tooth she was cutting. After work, her mom came on over and had dinner again with us. The first night, Woody made him an Brie shrimp broil. The next night, I'd made a roast for us. So I was honored that Aubrey fed some of my roasted potatoes to our little baby, and she really seemed to enjoy it. Of course, the next morning's when we went on that little trip on Fort Macon, and went all down in there. Woody really got to see the whole coast and got to see where I'd raised my children and where I've lived my whole adult life until recently. So it was really nice to share that with him. And then the next day when we left, we went on over to Charlotte. In Charlotte, we went to go see the NASCAR Hall of Fame. The day before we went, though, we went and stayed at an RV park, and it was too late to go to the Hall of Fame that day. So we ate at a place called Barbecue King, and it says curbside service. And there were these two guys that stand outside, and they come. It's kind of like a Sonic, but it's the real old time, like 40s, 50s drive-in. It's always been there, you can tell. And they actually come to the curb and take your order and sit and talk with you if you want them to, give you a little bit of history, suggest to you what you might want to order. And as we're sitting there waiting for our order, we happen to notice Guy Fieri's picture up on a wall. Now, we did a little bit more research and come to find out this September 12th, they're featuring this on television. The food was excellent. What he suggested to us was a little bit of North Carolina barbecue, coleslaw, beans. He brought buns so we could make sandwiches with our barbecue if we chose to. It was so filling. It was very good. We topped it off after that with a banana split from Dairy Queen. It was fun. So the next day we pack up. We're ready to roll. We go down to NASCAR Hall of Fame. We stayed there until about 4 in the afternoon. Man, I've never seen Woody so happy. Goodness gracious, that man was in hog heaven. And I didn't think I'd ever get him out. He did the simulator race. There's a bunch of interactive activities you can do at that museum, so it's not like, oh, just don't touch. There was so much that you could touch and do and experience and get a feel for what it's like for the pit crew and for the crew chief and for the racer himself. So that was fun. We got back in the truck and headed on out of the Hall of Fame. Went straight for Asheville, North Carolina. We were tired. We're talking about several days of tours and sightseeing, but we did. We made it up into Asheville, and Joseph had encouraged us and found us a really great deal for the Biltmore Estate. So we get to Asheville, and we're kind of having a hard time finding an RV spot. We picked one out, put it in, but we couldn't get to it because the road was blocked. After going through several residential areas, we did manage to make it over to that RV park. If you're ever in Asheville, you want to go to Wilson's Riverfront RV Park. It's not like every other RV park, because when you get there, you just go park yourself in any one of the very clean sites. Half of them are directly on the riverfront. That's one of the ones we chose. They're not even worried about you paying. You can go pay when you get there. You can pay when you leave. You can pay anytime. We had to beg them to let us pay because there was nobody even there to take the money. It was so clean, cool, nice place to have a little fire. What else could you do there? Oh, all the people on the kayaks and the canoes and the inner tubes and swimming in the water. Just a real fun activity, and a lot of hikers and walkers were also out there. So that was neat, and we didn't get to enjoy it much. It was too late at night when we got there, and we just decided, let's just take it easy, get on to bed. In the morning we'll get up, and we had our tickets for Biltmore Estate. So we did the next day get up and go on out to Biltmore, and walking the grounds and inside the home of the Vanderbilt home known as Biltmore Estates, you would have felt like Dwight and Mamie Eisenhower's house was the maid's living quarters. It was so elaborate that at times I caught myself forgetting that we were in America and kept thinking we were touring someplace in Europe. It was so ornate, and I just can't express the grandeur that that built that home. It was also interesting because the guy who designed the grounds for the Biltmore Estate is the same man, his last name's Olmsted, the same man who designed the grounds for New York Central Park, which more interestingly to me is the same man that designed the grounds for the Chicago World Fair, which I've done a lot of extensive reading on.
And the White House.
And yes, he's done the White House in a lot of places, but I found it interesting because I'd read so much about him doing the World Fair, and in the writings about him doing the World Fair, it talked about how much more excited he was about doing the Biltmore Estate, and the work is just breathtaking and so beautiful. So there was just lots to see. We got to see how the family lived, how the guests would live, and also how the servants would live. So that was all interesting. We were just too tired to go on the tour of the winery there, but you could go on a tour of the winery. You could go on a tour of the village where the village people lived.
The village people.
She said the village people. Anyway, so that was Joseph and Bree spent 9 hours there. We did about 4 hours. Wow, check out the highway patrol. He's hiding over there. He's trying to get somebody. Anyway, so the next day we were supposed to leave and head on over to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Yeah, we were too tired. It was Sunday, and God said we should rest on the 7th day, and guess what we did? We rested. I think I got up at noon. Keep in mind, while we were in North Carolina, I was waking up at 5 in the morning just to make sure I made the most of every day and every minute I could be with my little granddaughter. And so Woody, being my driver, had to keep the same hours I did. Now, we're talking about two people who are used to working nights. Having trouble talking. We're talking about two people who are used to working nights and sleeping all day. So this was very unusual. Anyway, we got to sleep till noon. We got up and watched race day, and we watched our race, and we pulled open the blind at the end of the RV and just watched all the people going by on the kayaks and their rafts and just all the different modes of water sports you could think of in that river. And we had pizza and stayed in our pajamas and just rested. We honestly just rested, and it was good. Today we were supposed to get up early and head on over to Murfreesboro, but it was noon before we pulled out of Asheville, and now you're on the drive with us. Here we are headed to we're actually headed to Smyrna, Tennessee, which is right outside of Murfreesboro, and Murfreesboro is right below Nashville. And Smyrna seems to have the only campgrounds. There aren't any in Murfreesboro, so Woody will have to drive back and forth. We've been calling the RV parks out there. Nobody answers, but what we have found recently is that people aren't calling back from RV parks. They seem to have spots available, and if you stop in, great, and if you don't, oh well. They're not, I guess they've done their summer work and this is all gravy to them. So I'm hoping that this is the case and that we will get a spot when we get there. I never like to arrive at a town where we don't already have a spot secured, but we seem to have no choice this time. Well, I've done all the talking. I guess I'm going to let Master Woody here say a couple of words.
Hey everybody, like I say, we're on the trip to Tennessee, going through the Great Smoky Mountains. Talk to you later. Bye.
Capriana, if you ever watch this, we miss you. And here's Woody's favorite sound. Yeah, if I get lonely, we just go, ah. That's what Capriana likes to do. That, and we can also slap things around or kick them. She's a tough one, that one. Man, just like her mama. Cutie, sweet, delicate looking. Spirit of a warrior. My goodness, they're tough girls. I gotta love them. Gotta love them.